why you wanna be around me.
We bring you everything from breaking news.
President must know that this is a bad time for our nation. We must look for foreign support to save this nation.
World news, sport, music,
Better just want me with you like guys.
and many more. To listen to our programs, follow us live on all our social media platforms on Facebook at Aloore Radio, Twitter and Instagram at Aloore Radio. You can also subscribe on our YouTube page on Aloore Radio. Make sure you click on the notification bell so you know when we are live. This is Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State.
Good morning, everyone. You're welcome once again to another amazing episode of You and Your Mental Health. My name is Oyenika Delike. I'm your host, and I'm that person you're listening to on Monday morning to set the pace for the week. I'm that person that changes you so that you can ensure that you meet up with your tasks and your goals and obligations. I'm that person that will tell you that it's possible, it can be done despite all odds. And I'm also that person that will ask you at every episode that, how are you? And I don't mean how are you as a rhetorical question. I mean literally, how are you? What's up with you? What's happening to you? How's your mental health? How are you coping emotionally, physically, financially, mentally, and in all wise? Because your mental health is all encompassing. It has to do with your wholeness. And anytime there's something wrong with either your emotions or your physical body or your emotional body or your mental state or even your financial state, it affects your mental health. That's why this morning we also want to encourage one another, talk to one another, and find out at what stage we're in to ensure that this week is a productive week. Trust me, there's a lot of things you can do that can help your week to be productive. It doesn't have to be the way it is. You know, people will say life happens, and whatever will be will be. Whatever will be will not be. You can actually change the dynamics. You can set the pace for your week to ensure that you have a productive week. So please stay tuned. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Alright, with me in the studio this morning is no other person but somebody that I've brought here before. He's a CEO, is somebody that is a business person, a business mogul in this city of Ibadan. He's also someone that has been able to, at one point or the other, pushed his business from one point to the other in Oyo State, and is a force to be reckoned with in the business community. But this morning we're not talking about business, we're talking about coping mechanisms. I'm sure that everybody has found themselves in this boat. This is Nigeria, this is Ibadan or your state. And first we want to thank God for life. We want to thank God for the fact that we're still breathing. But despite all that, the question we need to ask ourselves is, how are you coping with the hike in price of fuel, with the hike in price of food, with the fact that it rained cats and dogs, and some people could not even leave their houses at this morning because most of the bridges are over flooded, and some people are even finding it difficult to fuel their car, and they have to go on motorbikes or go with public transport. There's a whole lot happening around it. But guess what? Before we go into our discussion for today, I want you to know that there's an attitude that we should all imbibe. And I'm going to teach you that attitude in a minute before I bring up our guest. the attitude of thanksgiving. You need to always appreciate God despite all odds. Because if you don't, you find yourself in a pity party. Always ensure that every opportunity you have, you look at one thing that you're grateful for. Gratitude is the best attitude at this time. That's the only way you can win. You can't go around complaining and grumbling and talking about what has happened. Can you look at one thing that you're grateful for and just thank God Almighty for sparing your life, that you're still alive, that you're not 10 feet below the ground, that you're not in the hospital bed. There's a whole lot you can thank God for. So this morning, please, despite all odds, learn to have a gratitude attitude. It will go a long way. Having said that, let me bring up my guest this morning as we talk about coping mechanisms. We all have different mechanisms, different ways at which you cope with pressure. So this morning we'll talk about different ways, and then you can share with us in the comment section how are you coping with yours, and then we'll talk about ours and we'll have an amazing time. So with me this morning is Mr. Chris Okafor. He is the CEO of Presto Integrated Services. He's a tech guru. I'll allow him to introduce himself and then we'll go straight to the discussion. You're welcome, Mr. Okafor.
Thank you very much. You already don't know the
Okay, so I've done well.
Yes.
You don't have anything to add to it.
No.
You don't want to tell us that you are the next chief executive director, MD, CEO, MSP, FRCN.
No, my name is Chris.
Who title help? All right. So this morning I want us to discuss. First, I will ask. We're all in this together. You see, a lot of times for women, our powders, our weave-ons, our lovely dresses, our jewelries cover up a lot of things. So it's not everybody you see on the road smiling or looking good that is actually fine. So please learn to be sensitive. But you see, as you're looking at Mr. Okafor now, well, looking cool and collected like the inside of a refrigerator, it's not as if he's not going to pressure himself. He will tell you about it. But the question I have this morning is, how are you coping with everything that is going on around? Maybe if you share one or two things with people, it would help another person that is listening this morning to also learn to cope. We're not saying it's not happening. We're not ignoring the fact. We're just saying, despite everything, you need to learn to have a coping mechanism. Over to you, Mr. Okafor.
It's a tough season. No mention word about that. But I believe that people should learn their coping mechanism for themselves. What works for A might not work for B. But I usually have this analogy. You have this briefcase that has all your life document, very important document. The briefcase is the most important thing to you. So you jack the briefcase, there's an emergency and you're trying to run, there's a flood. It's a very heavy briefcase because you have everything you want in it. And then you realize that you're getting tired, you can't swim anymore. Is either you hold on to this very important briefcase and sink with it, or you let go of the briefcase and save yourself. It's a simple analogy, might be tough to take. Some people say, what am I going to start from? I've lost everything I've worked for. But you worked for those things, so you're still alive to make up for it. Now things become very tough in certain situations, then you begin to look for what to cut down on. I know of people even in this secretariat that do not drive their cars out anymore. They not join the buses. This is how to balance things up. Don't join the bandwagon of what will people say, seeing me not driving anymore. Now what happens in the sense, those people will keep saying, because even as you're driving, they are even wondering how you are doing it.
Exactly.
So those people will always say. So what you should focus on is how to save yourself. If you realize that the cost of transporting yourself had gone too much, you're a civil servant, for example, there's a community bus provided by the government. Join the bus. It doesn't take anything away from you. Just ensure you do not do beyond what you're capable of managing. Don't go beyond yourself. Companies downsized. There's nothing wrong there. You look at situation. Do I rather keep all these people out of sentiments and emotions, and then because we're trying to pay all of them, we all go down together?
Exactly.
When you go down, those staff will go look for job elsewhere. The owner of the business will have to be the one to look for how to get back on his feet, as if he ever gets back. So you have to put things down and say, what are the things I can cut? At a particular lifestyle you live, you have a bottle of drink or two on your way home every day. Can you cut down on that? You have certain vices you indulge in. you must go to certain places and see certain people. Can you cut down on that?
Sure.
So the most important thing right now is to ensure that you have a good state of mind, you maintain your sanity, and you ensure that you keep a good health. Health is expensive. You will not know until you fall sick. A friend was telling me yesterday that she had to go and fill up her teeth, and the teeth got broken because she bought beans that had stone. So she chewed on the stone with force, and it cracked
my
the teeth
goodness.
open.
Wow.
And the beans was less than 500 naira. Now what she has spent on that teeth is more than 10,000 so far, and she just started. They're still going to ask her to come back for another filling before they now do a permanent filling. So in the end, she's going to spend like 20,000 naira trying to fix, less than 500 naira, trying to fix that tooth. So it's like that in life. Sometimes in trying to do certain things, you fall into certain things, but the first thing you have to do right now is to ensure you maintain sanity. The teeth she had been using to eat all manner, she didn't know it was that expensive to maintain until that incident happened.
Sure.
It's when you fall sick that you realize that good health is very expensive. So ensure that you keep yourself in good health, and ensure that you cut down on things that are not necessary. But in this season, whatever it takes for you, just try to ensure you live healthy and are sane.
Did you hear that? You need to understand how to cope. You know, there's a Yoruba adage that says "Shebo timo elewa ashapo." I really don't know how to translate that in English, but what it says, what it actually says is that cut your coat according to your size. You know, this is not a season where you impress people. This is not the time where you want to do things so that people can think that you're okay or think that you're fine. If you're not fine, you're not fine. So just like Mr. Okafor has said, there's certain things you have to cut down on. Lifestyle, exuberant way of living. There's nobody that will not understand what is going on now. So do not try and compete with anybody. You are not in competition with anybody. And having said that, I want to ask you this morning as we go on a short break. The question I'm asking you is, what are your coping mechanisms? What are the things that you're doing to ensure that you live a sane life, to ensure sanity? You know, somebody jokingly said on social media yesterday night, I saw a post that says that people should be careful while they're walking on the road, because drivers are no longer looking on the road, on the streets, they're looking at their fuel gauge. They're trying to see, is this fuel going down or not? I saw another post where somebody used a paper tape to hold the fuel gauge so it doesn't come down. If you like, put magnets, stick it on full. If the tank is empty, it is empty. But there are ways you can manage yourself in this season, and that's what we're saying to you. Please, please, please ensure that you have your coping mechanism. We'll be right back.
Me no fighting. Throwing down drums from bungalow out there. I did my penthouse, you can't even reach me. Me no frightened. It is not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Only mummy bow down. To bambino farabale. Oh boy, I go Larry Mole. Okay. It's okay, let them see. Trouble no they pay me. Kinjaye on the daily. Okay. We go to okay. I just want to give me. Look. Baby, it's your daddy. My grace, you define. I get the times too. You dey eye me. Let me remind you. No, they try me. To bury me, go my bury. Yeah. You got my attention now. What you gonna do? You the tension, but you the jack on fool. Okay, cool it down. Cause me no fight it. It's not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Only mummy bow down. To bambino farabalẹ̀, àbóyá kò lárí mọ́lẹ̀. Okay, okay, it's okay let them say. Trouble no dey pay me, kí n jayé on a daily. Okay, okay, we go dey okay. I just want jayé mi, lókè lókè.
Radio transmitting live from Oyo State Ministry of Information and Culture Authority. My name is Oyinike Adeleke and I'm your mental health advocate. Our main in the studio this morning is Mr. Chris Okafor, the CEO of Presto Integrated Services. And this morning we're talking about coping mechanisms. What are the things you do to ensure that you're fine and you're sane in these times? And guess what? Earlier we started by talking about not doing more than what you can handle. Don't bite more than you can chew. Do not be in competition with anybody. Do not allow anybody to pressurize you to the point where you're trying to impress. As long as you are fine, as long as you can cope, just cut down on excesses, cut down on things that you feel you don't need, and be good. Alright? So moving on, I want us to talk about the things that make you happy. Listen, everybody has something that makes them happy. What is that thing that makes you happy? What's that thing that makes you glad? That anytime you do it, no matter what it is, it calms you down. I want us to discuss this because everybody has one thing. Everybody has a mumu button. Allow me to say that. Everybody has a mumu button. It has something that once it is done, no matter what pressure is on you, you would at least give a smile or laugh out loud. So this morning, Mr. Okafor, what are the things that, okay, maybe I should ask first this personal question. What makes you happy? What is that thing that tingles you, that can make you excited despite all odds? For me, it differs, all right? So please don't be judgmental. But for me, as simple as me just getting my nails done or getting my hair done calms me down, just give me a good feeling. Or something that initially used to be shopping, but I discovered that shopping will take a lot of money. So now, if shopping used to be what makes you happy, you need a new habit. You need something else that can make you happy apart from shopping. But except is what's that thing you do? The kind of shopping, you just go there, you look at it. Window shopping. Window shopping can still give you excitement. At least you look at the prices and then you just make yourself happy. There's some things that you can try on, go to the car store, tell them you want to buy a car, then test drive it, don't have an accident though. Just get yourself excited and hype yourself up. So what is that thing that excites you? What's that thing that makes you happy? And how can you use or jumpstart happiness?
What makes me happy? Credit alert.
Just credit my account. I will do right.
Fine. I know, but in situations where
there's no alert,
where there's no credit alert, like I usually say, every human being is unique.
Yep.
For some people, it's being with friends.
Mm.
For some people, it's being with family. For some people, it's being at home with children and relations and all those kinds of things. So look at what helps you. Yeah, for some people, it's hanging out with friends in some places. Yes, in the end, sometimes you spend a little extra money, but you can manage how you do it. But if you know that being around people and being around friends help you to be in that state and that mood, why not?
Yeah.
Some people is being with their wife. But whichever one makes you or brings out that mood, just embark on it. And it's a season where you need as much social support as possible. So I usually tell people, do not hide too much from other people. If you're in a tight situation, difficult situation, speak to people. Talk to friends. If you have friends who never get to give you anything, look for new friends. You should be able to have friends you can call on and say, guy, I am down.
Yeah.
What can you do for me time being? Till salary comes or till I get a job doing or till I get something. They have to be friends around you that you can bust open their door and say, guy, save me here or I perish. So, so they have to be friends like that. If you don't have such friends, you don't have friends yet.
Exactly.
Actually, because those are the people. What are friends for? If not to inconvenience each other.
But there's this saying that a friend in need is a blood nuisance.
But just be there for me in need. If I'm a nuisance or not, just be there for me in my times of need, and I'll be there for you. Because what usually happens is that sometimes friendship is not reciprocal.
Sure.
You come to me for help, and when it's time for me to come to you, it's not available. So it becomes a one-sided thing. That's when the person becomes a bloody nuisance.
Exactly.
But if it's a two-way thing where you come in for each other at different points in time, it's all good. So, but look for support system, friends, colleagues, whichever one helps you. You come to work, discuss your issues with people. Because I noticed also that bottling things up are part of the challenges, health challenges that you have. It keeps building up in your system until you can no longer manage it.
Sure.
So talk to people. You'll be shocked. A lot of people have about the same problem, if not worse than yours. So talking to people helps you to understand that this is not just me, because part of the biggest problem is when you begin to think this is happening to just me, and that's when you begin to narrow it down to there's something wrong with me. There's some spiritual, mental, psychological health issues wrong with me as a person. But if you realize that basically everybody is passing through the same challenge, they are seeing through the same thing you are seeing through, and all those kinds of things, you will take things a lot more easier. So speak to people, play with people, stay around people. Whatever you enjoy doing, you enjoy reading novels, read it. If you enjoy watching movies, if when there is electricity, because in some instances you can't run generator to watch your movie. Now, so whichever one you find, and you can even watch your movie on your phone. So whichever one you find that suits you or just calms you down, just do it.
I want to talk about social capital. You see, a lot of people don't have any social capital. What is social capital? The environment, the people you hang around with, your social circle. These are the people that you run to when you're in trouble. But you see, a lot of times I discovered that most people they don't have this culture of belonging to associations or belonging to this group or that group. When we were growing up, our mothers were in different things. There will be like association of something, men something, men of the star. They just belong to one social circle or the other. And I discovered that it was their go-to. It was an environment where they could unwind, they could meet with friends, go to parties and all that. In fact, I had an aunt that every Saturday, one Saturday or the other, she has to go for a function. Because either one association is doing celebration or somebody's having a birthday or somebody, there's always something. So what would you say about having social capital and harnessing it? What are the benefits of social capital, and what are the ways people can go around ensuring that they belong to one association or the other?
Life is in categories. There are people who are welders, who are carpenters, who are tailors. You can start off from there. Your colleagues are the closest, your low-hanging fruits that you can discuss with. Discussions can start off from things like work. You talk about the cost of materials in the market. How are you coping with your own? How are you able to buy your own to be able to still make profit? That's where such discussion starts. Until you become closer friends, family things begin to come in. You invite me for your naming ceremony, I invite you for mine, and then there's a cooperative somewhere you're going to, you invite me there. That's how you build it. So, but if you don't sit down and begin to point at some of that, because you have to flow with your type. Birds of the same feather have to flock together. Because you can't sit down as I'm not belittling any career, but you can't sit down as a welder and insist that is the CEO of a bank you want to make friends with on the immediate. Yes, you can become friends with him over time. Maybe he sees that you are aspiring or coming up and start to pull you. But pull around your friends more. The bonding is stronger. Why
you have things in common.
Why the CEO and you are not going to blend well is your discussions are going to be different. The guy is talking about is talking about what is happening at the Wall Street, the stock exchange. He's talking about what is
iron.
you are talking about angle iron and 12 mm. So it doesn't marry. So, but if you have people where you can have like discussion and you can even make jokes out of your 12 mm thickness nail that it still works, stay around them for the meantime. I mean for the meantime, because you're still going to grow. So have friends in that cadre and watch out for your friends actually. When you see that this friend is negative minded, friends who always see everything bad,
stay away from them.
Doesn't have a positive attitude to things. Yes, things are bad, but what are we going to do to come out? That should be your mindset. But you have friends who keep saying, let's give up, there's nothing we can do, life is difficult, this and that. Stay away from such people, because what you're looking for is suko. You're looking for how to get yourself stable. You're going to jump yourself into somebody who's going to make things worse for you. So stay around people who are positive. And in those days, we used to buy this Night of 1,000 Laugh disc and just sit in your sitting room and just laugh.
It's all about the internet now.
So you can watch them, their skits on the internet. But the challenge is sometimes even data. You're trying to save money to be able to do things. Now you have to buy data to do them. And in some instances, you can come together and watch together, save the cost. But we just have to find a way. There's no shame in some of these things.
Exactly.
We're all in Nigeria, and I know that no matter how rich you are, you can't be richer than your environment. So everybody in Nigeria is facing the same challenge. You might be struggling to buy 2 liter, 3 liter petrol for your generator. That supposed big man is struggling on how to fill his 150 liter tank of Land Cruiser.
Yes.
Everybody have their own quota
True.
version of it. So everybody have to meet up with it. The fuel consumption of his Land Cruiser is 20-30 times than that your apart from my neighbor generator you're struggling to fill. So everybody halfway is pinching them. His diesel generator at home is also copying diesel for him to be able to sleep with his air conditioning at night when you open your own window to sleep. So if you think it's only affecting you because you are lower class, no, it's affecting everybody. So you also have to look for how to ensure that you cope without looking at the other person and thinking his life is better. So make friends, associate with the right people, and then you can take off from there.
Wow, that's powerful. That's amazing. I hope somebody has been encouraged this morning. Before we round up, I want us to discuss about one more thing. But before then, let's listen to this music and I'll be back.
You they do as them they do. All got do it thing, you know. You better know who you are. You better know who you are. As you come this life alone, that's so you go live this life alone. You better know who you are. You better know who you are. Ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lọ́wọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lọ́wọ́, Olúwa ló wà. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́, Olúwa ló wà. He can give and take away, but every day now forgive away. Baba say make a day happy, make a day happy, yeah yeah yeah. Jao jao, yes jao jao. Baby dide, oh baby dide. Jao jao, yes jao jao. Baby dide, oh baby dide. Hallelujah. If you talk, you must to do. And when you lie, we know the truth. You better know who you are. You better know who you are. When they say you done, they go low. Brother, keep my money low. Don't let anybody know. That money go give you fix it. Ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lọ́wọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lọ́wọ́, Olúwa ló wà. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́, Olúwa ló wà. He can give and take away, but every day now forgive away. Baba say make a day happy, yeah yeah yeah. Jao jao, yes jao jao. Baby dide, oh baby dide. Jao jao, yes jao jao.
Alright, you're welcome back. This is Aloore Radio, transmitting live from Oyo State Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. You can follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. We're on YouTube as Aloore Radio, and our website is www.aloreradio.com. And this morning on You and Your Mental Health, I have a guest in the studio with me, Mr. Chris Okafor, the CEO of Presto Integrated Services. And we're talking about coping mechanisms in this time, in this era that we're in. And I've been able to discuss the fact that do not do more than you can handle. Don't chew more than you can. Don't bite more than you can chew. You know, that Yoruba adage that says, Shepo Timo. You have to cut your coat according to your size. Do not impress anybody at this time. It's not a time to do things that would make you start saying that what will people say. People are not even saying anything because everybody is trying to be fine. And then the second thing we talked about is we have to ensure that you do things that make you happy. Those can be your coping mechanisms. No matter how cheap it is, no matter how fun it is, belong to a social circle, belong to an association, join a club somewhere, do something healthy, belong to people of like minds that can ginger each other and help each other to become better at whatever you do. And as a round of this morning, I want to talk about the fact that you are the one that can make yourself happy. If you keep looking external for happiness, it would you keep getting disappointed. You have to look at yourself. You have to look internally for your happiness. You are the best encourager of yourself. So this morning, I want to encourage you to encourage yourself. I want to ginger you to ginger yourself. I want to tell you that you should look in the mirror every morning and tell yourself things will get better. And as long as you're breathing, as long as you're still standing, I want to promise you that you will be fine. Mr. Okafor, can you give us your parting words just to encourage people as we all know?
Well, sometimes they say cut your coat according to yourself, but sometimes there are no clothes to cut to start with. So it's a major challenge in certain situations. You can tell somebody cut your food ration, and there's no option.
There's even no clothes to cut. This is good.
Some people are in very tight situation.
I know, right?
Some people are in very messy situation. But whatever it is, I once watched a comedy where the guy was saying there's light at the end of the tunnel, and he responded, "That's a wicked person. Why did you put the light at the end of the tunnel?
Why did you put the light?
Why did you put the light as a entry so I can see my way? I will suffer to get to where the light is." Well, we're already in the tunnel, so there's light, which means there's morning will come.
Yeah.
Like the Bible will say, weeping may tarry till the end. But there's always joy in the morning.
True.
Yeah, it is a tough time. I hope you remember there was a time we had Abacha as a president, and there was a time things were quite tough. We got out of it. We survived it. Even though we came out of it with scars, but we survived it.
And there was time we were using money to buy money.
Oh, in this same country,
Yes,
just this year,
yes,
not quite far away, that you're buying money with money.
But we survived
We
it.
survived it.
And
We
we're still
Nigerians
standing.
will survive. But the thing is that I believe that will get better because this is a new version of challenge. That time you had money, you couldn't withdraw. Now you don't even have money. So it's a bigger challenge in situations because if you want to withdraw any amount you want now, you can withdraw even in dollars. But now you don't even have it because cost of living has skyrocketed, cost of getting on with things have skyrocketed. Income is not changing. It's the same income, but the outcome has become very, very large. So hold on to it. It will come. It has come already. It will pass. So hold on. This will also pass. Time will change and we'll all get back to our beautiful normal life.
Wow, thank you so much. There's a song that comes to mind now. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. Let me tell you something. Good day, alright. I want to assure you things will get better. As long as you don't lose hope. Somebody said one time that na person will give up, now you mess up. Don't give up. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on your environment. Don't give up on your country. Just keep holding on. Things will get better. I'll be back again next week with another amazing episode on you and your mental health. Until then, cut your coat according to your size. And when there's no coat to cut, just wait.
Say that.
I'll see you again next week. God bless you.
You everything from breaking news,
President must know that this is a bad time for our nation. We must look for foreign support to save this nation.
world news, sport,